In this video, we're going to be talking about instrument maintenance. It is so crucial to keep your instrument well maintained because it's going to play better and you're going to enjoy playing it more without the frustrations of sticky valves and slides that don't move and mouthpieces that are stuck. So I'm going to just walk you through a couple of very common problems with student trumpet maintenance, and what we really want is everything working great, and I'll tell you how to do that. A well-maintained instrument means several things. It means that the valves are oiled. It means that the slides are greased. It means that the mouthpiece comes out easily. And it also means that the horn is going to play as it was designed to. So let's start with the first element, oiling your valves. I see a lot of interesting ideas about how to oil your valves, and I'll show you the proper way to do so. You want to start by taking out your valve completely, like this, and hopefully it looks rather clean, like mine does. And we want to use the valve oil to basically wash off any of the dirt and grime that we find on the valve. And so what you'll need to do is actually take it like this and just squeeze a few drops and let the oil kind of run down the valves. You can also get into the ports and make sure that the ports are oiled, and that way you won't have grime kind of sticking to the inside of those ports too. So do that for each valve, and then you put it back in the horn, and you have to make sure that the valve guides line up with the right hole. There's usually a smaller side and a bigger side. Let it click, and then work it in, and it'll get all in there and incorporate, and then we have nice smooth valves. For the valve slides, I like to use kind of a more liquid slide oil rather than slide grease. If you just have the greasy stuff, I usually mix it with some valve oil to thin it out a little bit because we want these slides to move really easily. And so what I do is I just put a little drop of my stuff on there and just work it in, and then this should move really easily. Your third valve slide is the most important one, and you really want it to just fall out. If you have a lot of grime here, I would suggest taking something to wipe it down, and sometimes that's brass polish and sometimes that's steel wool. Make sure if you're using either of those that you're doing so with parental supervision. And before you put the slide back into the instrument, you absolutely need to wipe all that corrosive stuff off, all the metal or whatever comes off your valve slide. Wash it off with water, and then use a towel, rub it off. It's so important that you do that. Lastly, a lot of people get their mouthpiece stuck. It's a big problem. And usually what I see is down here on the end of the mouthpiece, if there's kind of some wear there and I can see the brass exposed beneath the silver, then what actually happens is that brass actually sticks to the inside of the mouthpiece receiver and it corrodes there. And so if you leave the mouthpiece on the horn for a long time, or if you are twisting it into place, then it has a better chance of sticking. Just make sure that when you put the mouthpiece in, gently push it in, and don't turn your horn upside down ever, because you don't want the mouthpiece falling out, but you shouldn't have to twist the mouthpiece in. That's basically it for instrument maintenance. I just wanted to say that when I oil my valves, I do all three valves about every 3 days, even if they're not sticky. I just want to have a 3-day rotation so that I'm kind of being proactive about getting my valves to respond the way that I expect them to. Oh, and one more thing, speaking of instrument maintenance, and we'll talk about instrument hygiene for a second. Your mouthpiece needs to be washed daily. And think about it. You have dried spit, you have skin cells, you have your lunch, all going through the mouthpiece, and it collects on the rim and it collects inside here. And so you want to take a mouthpiece brush and go in there, and I usually take some soap and water and just wash off the rim every single day. Otherwise, it's pretty gross and nobody wants that. Okay, thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next video.